Ready, Christie? Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. This meeting and all other meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with the Wisconsin statute, so the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. To make a quorum, we're roping Chair Morak into our group today so that we can at least have the discussion that we plan to have. Need a motion to approve today's agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll get right into it. This meeting is for a discussion on courthouse security and courtroom security. There was a different idea that was brought forward, and Chair Morak and I discussed it a little bit, as well as with some other supervisors, and we think it's a reasonable solution, but we needed some input from the judges. So we kind of pulled this meeting together. The idea is to move the courtroom security people that have been approved to the front door, and then they would provide security for the whole courthouse. And would that be okay with the judges? Would that work for what their goals were when they wanted when they made the request for security in the courtrooms?
Well, I can advise everyone that we recognize the difficulties of the financial situation of the county. And while it won't technically meet the definitions as provided by statute, as we would find that acceptable. Although, in all honesty, the county board should be aware of the long range. The statute does require, whenever court's in session, an officer in the courtroom. And but we recognize the difficulties, and there's clearly a benefit for all of the people in the courthouse if there's court security at the entryways. So I think from my discussions that I've had with people is that we're building a security program. So this is the best way to start, we feel, and then expand into the courtrooms. And as always, I'm sure Tim will back me up on this, is that if there's a serious case or whatever, there would be officers assigned, just like we do now, basically.
Yes.
there has always been, there hasn't ever been a question of if
Right.
we knew about a problem case.
Yeah, the judges give a call or their assistants and we have someone assigned. However, if we take the two, we still have to have the judge in the basement protected. And two will not be enough at the door. It just won't work.
So alls I have to work with is 3.
Well,
You know what I mean?
two.
Well,
One's gonna be in the basement. They have to be assigned down there to the judge.
right.
Just
So
because of the dynamics of the location.
I think from the board perspective is we have 3 approved. So we want to keep moving forward. So the plan would be to, once the building is up, the new entrances is in place and we're using it, that we have 3 at that door. And I think there's going to be some overlap there where Judge Nielsen will still be in the basement, but the front entrance will be open. So we're going to have to address that eventually. The second portion of the idea would be to move about 75,000 from the sales tax to buy the equipment we need at the front door, the scanner and a new metal detector that works for people walking through. Is that, I forget what the exact number was, but is that about what it would?
Around 75 for the scanner unit, TSA type.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the overhead one would be a little, I don't even know what their cost. We didn't get a cost, but it would be minimal cost compared to what the full TSA scanner had.
So if we could get those numbers nailed down, and then we would have to make an adjustment to the budget, that one-time adjustment to get that equipment, so that it's in place when the front doors come open.
Do you know when that'll be?
End of phase one, 6 or 7 months from now.
Roughly August.
August,
Roughly August.
Is it?
yes.
Yeah. So,
And it'll
Fingers
take,
crossed.
it will take time to move, you know,
yeah,
4 to 6
well, yeah,
weeks
we
to
have to,
move.
we have to move. everything too, So if, it sounds like the judges are okay with it. Tentatively.
Tentatively. We're understanding of the circumstances
Yes, yeah,
and
yeah, and building a program like this is like planting a tree, right? It's best time to do it is 20 years ago, the second best time is right now, so we have to start putting something together. There's tons of Facebook stuff out there that's railing on the county board because there's no security at any of the entrances and stuff like that, so we all knew it, we all understand it, I just wish people wouldn't advertise it. So I guess, Diane, what would be our next steps? Do you know what our next steps would be to, or which committee would have to approve the adjustment, because the budget
That's a question for Heidi.
for Heidi, okay,
It's a financial question, that's hers.
okay. So I see a lot of department heads out here, how do you guys feel about the idea? We'll start with Diane.
I don't have any comments. I think.
Okay, Mary?
The input that I would have is relative to the 600 building, and I've had some conversation, I think a while back with Sheriff about maybe where I made a comment, but really, I guess not a conversation, but if there's going to be security at the courthouse designed and intended to, protect those within the courthouse, we at the 600 building would not have security, so just that recognition. The Sheriff's Department has done some good and has landed a squad car there on a daily basis, so really work to partner with us in the ways that they can, and then has offered to come and assist, and we work with the city of Wapaka as well within that building, but those would be my limited comments.
Yeah, and it's long-term, but a temporary move at the 600 building. So right now, today, we're trying to talk about the finish, what are we gonna do to start this security program for the whole building if we can do it, so. Casey, anything? Kat?
I mean, I'm with the judge on that. Those of us who are working on the third floor, I think, would feel comfortable with security on the first floor, and I think it's a big step forward. I think we're the last county in the state that doesn't have any security, so it's been a long time coming.
Ron, what do you think?
I think it's good that it would provide the whole building security rather than just the courtrooms. I understand the need in the courtrooms. And I think once we're back to normal with all the courtrooms being upstairs, then that may be adequate, or at least you have a starting point with having it at the front entrance.
Agree with Judge Huber and Kat.
Tim, what do you think?
Like I said, 2 people at the front would be a start, but maintaining that would be difficult because of the vacations that would come up. We'd have to fill it with overtime. Should really have 3 there during peak hours and then drop down to 2 during the day. So ideally, no. It would be, we'd have to actually fill it with either overtime or officers that aren't working on transport, weren't doing transports, but they're so busy too.
Right.
So. We'd have to really take a good look at it, Pete, and if it's down the road to August, when we would start that, it'd give us more opportunities to work on a plan. Okay. So.
Al, anything?
We're gonna have another budget cycle. They had more than 3, correct? Before this is totally done?
Well, alls I can speak on right now is that we have 3. And if in 2026, when we're discussing 2027, if it comes up again, then we will have to address it then. But right now, 3 is all we have to work with.
Well, I guess we're gonna thank the sheriff's department for doing what they can with what they have, and the judges for allowing us to do it this way. And everybody's safer, hopefully.
Well said, Al. I just one question for the judge here. You've been around a couple of years.
Yeah, a few.
How come now? I mean, why wasn't this pushed way back when?
Oh, it
All
was.
the other counties around us have, gone this way.
Yeah.
How come now?
Well, we raised it with the county board many times over the years. I took the bench in 2000, and at that time, we were lobbying for,
Very back.
and never without a lot of success, but I'll give Tim credit. He's recognized his responsibility, which earlier sheriffs haven't been willing to recognize.
And we, remember we had the courtroom security
Yeah.
set up before COVID. And
That's
we
right,
were
yeah.
meeting quarterly, I believe it was quarterly, talking about courtroom security. And I know Judge Kirk was big on it too, but the county board just wouldn't budge.
Yeah.
And the judge is right. I have a statute that tells me if the judge requests it, I'm obligated to provide that security on a daily basis or whenever court is in session.
I know you already asked me for my feedback and I gave
That's
it,
okay.
but just piggybacking on that, I think that having the security people at the front door honestly makes a lot of sense because Mary's department's not always gonna be at the 600 building. We're all gonna be housed in one building and there have been incidents and the sheriff's office, while being very responsive, it's not a failure by them, but they're just not as close. I think it would be a huge improvement for the safety of the entire building.
And it definitely would, because I know there's incidents up near the courtrooms, but we hear of a lot of instances. Second floor, first floor, we had one recently, and there's quite a bit that goes on outside the courtroom. And I think this would be a good way to me, if I'm looking at the front entrance open, I think anyone that's looking to cause problems, seeing some armed officers at that front entrance, they may never even walk in the building. They'll probably just leave. I think that's gonna help a lot. Not to say that the judges don't possibly need someone in the courtroom as well, but for overall for the courthouse, I think it would be huge. And I've been here over 26 years now, and I know we've talked about this so many times about security, and it's never gone anywhere. It's kind of nice to see that something's getting to the point of happening.
And not only when the judges request additional security, let's say it goes to the front. We always do a check on who's coming in for court. So we know that we should be there anyway. Would you agree with that, Judge?
Oh, certainly, yeah. And if we know that there's a particularly bad divorce, we let you know, or,
And our transport officers are really aware of the clientele that are coming in
yep,
and let the officers know too, and the administration.
So eventually I could see it that transport and courthouse and courtroom security work together, that whole, it would become like one program where it would mesh into like eventually down the road, you would have like a sergeant running that whole courtroom and courthouse and transport stuff when, that has to deal with court appearances and stuff like that. The stuff out of the jail would probably still work the same way, but that way it would be basically a new division of the sheriff's department that, like the detective division, kind of runs on its own, with the chief deputy and the sheriff overseeing it, but it's separate and apart from what patrol's doing, separate and apart from what corrections is doing. That's that's down the road. That's a couple more fights down the road. So basically that was what our meeting was for, is to get that input. And then I think, Dave, if you want to reach out and find out how do we need to make adjustments, or does Tim just
Okay, with, since we approved the three,
Yeah.
it seems like how they're being used, I think would kind of be up to the sheriff anyway.
use his statutory authority to run his business the way he sees best, so
But I was,
with our blessing.
I'll say too, Peter, we really appreciate the judge's input on this, particularly Judge Nielsen's comment was one that kind of triggered it for me. Up to that point, we were just thinking of our deputies in the courtroom, and when he mentioned that, made that comment, it suggests that you guys were
oh yeah.
open to, other
Yeah.
things, and we really appreciate that.
And I think it's
The
a more
one
efficient
thing
use. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a number of people who are around here who remember the year we did have screening. That was a real problem. We had people at 8 o'clock lined up from the main entrance all the way to the fence at the end of the parking lot. So that is the one problem with the screening. And I don't know if there's better PSA screeners now.
Yeah,
than
that
they
was
used-
old school.
That, I know that was old school, but I mean, it's not going to be without difficulties.
There'll be some growing pains. Change is always
It's a
painful.
Marathon County.
We toured, I think 8
So I imagine ours looking, do you guys think kind of like marathons,
different Wood County.
like Wood counties? And theirs is very similar to Marathon, yeah, and they scoot them through.
Yeah,
A lot of gaming to get them through quickly.
I was employed in Marathon when security was implemented, and so.
And you've been in
navigating
Wood
through
as
the-
well.
And I have, yes, yeah, so I have experience in both spaces and, right, but when you think about the hours, the core hours of security, I didn't often start my day at 8 o'clock when the security would be in place. I might start my day at 7, on certain days, and so we had a process in place for what it looked like if you came right before, what door you entered, what access you had then.
Yeah, and I think Tim and I and Kevin had that discussion. How do we, because with only 3 guys, that we can't have them work every time somebody comes in, early or stays late like that. So we have to come up with policies and procedures to ensure the security of the building yet, but not have to limit when people can come in, because they got to get their work done. So.
I think our guys come in at 6. I think parks in the summertime do. So there are gonna be the certain groups of people that are gonna be there early.
And that'll all get figured out.
Yeah.
We'll have a procedure and a way
Yeah.
to document it. That's not a big deal.
And the new scanners, compared to what we used to do, would check every purse, every bag, every backpack. Chit chat with the people about why we really don't want to be here either. That'll all go away and it'll be a much smoother process. Anything, Christie? I thought you looked like you wanted to say something.
I'm just taking it all in. No, I agree with quite a few of the other department heads here that, you know, starting somewhere is gonna be a step forward. I know from my perspective, my floor is a little different, like our offices are I always say exposed out into the open. So we do see quite a bit down there. There was a recent incident, a gal had come out of court quite upset. I think it was maybe like a restraining order or something. And she was concerned about going out into the parking lot because the family and friends of so-and-so were out there. So we ended up, giving a call over to the comm center and they were able to dispatch some officers out. But just having those situations, I don't know what they're dealing with, and I don't know the folks that she's worried about, but having somebody there, I think would be a benefit. And if it's 1, 2, eventually if we get 3, I think it's gonna be, it'll be a safer environment for us as employees, for the public that's coming there, the people who are visiting each floor for whatever reason. So I think it is definitely a step in the right direction. Financially, I have no clue how it's gonna work out. That's definitely not my silo. But yeah, I appreciate the judges considering the whole building as well as their courtrooms.
And knowing that there's some of us on the board that want to keep growing this, it's just we're not sure how fast we can grow. Anything else? Anybody else? All right. Next public property meeting is November 14th. Looking for a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.